Firstly, I'd like to preface this episode by stating that I am a Jamaican commenting on a very Jamaican issue. Secondly, if you do not know the difference between ethnicity and nationality, I suggest you find a dictionary. If you don't know how to use one, God help you. I don't think a lot of Jamaicans are ready to face reality. The reality of Jamaica not being the best country in the world. Not even close. Blinded by pride, feral to criticism, and close-minded to change, rigorously defending Jamaica's position at the bottom of the barrel with ignorance and badness. This is Jamaica that we live in. Do I think Jamaica is a lost cause? No. But if we cannot admit that we have problems in the first place, how can we solve it? And we have gigantic problems to solve before we can truly say Jamaica are the best. The perpetuation of dunce culture is one of these said problems. So what is dunce? The definition of dunce is someone who is slow at learning or stupid. So what DunceHall has done is twist the meaning slightly. When some artists say it, they mean someone who doesn't have any CXCs. When others say it, they mean someone who sick in the head, head chip, a mad bad man, if you will, right? My issue is not with what the artists are saying, but with people, especially the younger ones, who take it literally. People should have the understanding that artists are saying these things for entertainment value. Just like how we play violent video games, we know that it is wrong to reenact these things that we perform in the violent video games. So why can't we use the same logic for the music that we listen to? People who take it literally are the issue. How can you be comfortable doing or saying stupid things on camera and then say dunce is a talent? How can you do stupid things or admit on camera that you can't read and then say you are fully dunce, fully JAMAL? How? So, the JAMAL thing. I don't like it.
What's JAMAL?
JAMAL is basically a literacy program for adults that can't read and want to learn to read. So the government made a program for them to learn to read. But what Jamaica has done is shame the people who want to go and learn to read. So they came up with the term fully JAMAL. Yes.
What?
This is the perpetuation of dunce culture that I'm talking about.
Your country sets up a remedial adult learning program, reading, and instead of celebrating that, we chastise them, we harass them, we make them feel bad for wanting to improve their lives and by and large the lives of the people around them, because they'll be better able to understand and comprehend the world around them. This is where we're at.
This is where we're at. This is where we're at.
Hold on.
And then people get upset when I say Jamaica is not a real place, we live on a movie set.
This one's gonna be hard. This is gonna be a hard topic.
This is a very broad topic too.
How did we get here exactly?
I think it started with dancehall. Or as some would call it, DunceHall.
So we have a term named DunceHall now.
Not fully popularized, but I've heard it before. Like everybody in dancehall nowadays is saying fully dunce and things along those lines. So it's almost like a celebration of being dunce. But make no mistake, the artists who are saying this are intelligent people who have their subjects.
I don't know how we're gonna tackle this one. It's just so much. There's so many layers to this of madness. Like right, let's just jump into it. Let's jump into it. So going out of that point, like the first immediate thing we should talk about is the recent ban on scamming promotional music, or as what people in layman's terms or on the street would like to say,
Chopper music.
Chopper music, right? So I like to think of big ideas, big broad ideas that kind of give context for a lot of different things and then dive deep into different points. The first big idea is that artists are going to say, okay, they use the artistic medium as a reference for lived experiences that they have had.
Yes.
So that's the first excuse that's going to come out the door. And they say, well, we're just talking about what we live and see and breathe every day. Now, naturally, I have a problem with that, because if your lived experience is something illicit and illegal in the first place, how do you justify promoting that?
I get that point. But at the same time, art imitates life. If that's the only way that they can survive and live, then that's what they're going to do. It's sad, and we know it's wrong, but some of them don't really have any choice in the matter. Meaning, like, they don't have any qualifications to get a proper job that pays properly, right? Minimum wage and the value of the Jamaican dollar is already low. So like $9,000 per week doesn't really do much for somebody who, for example, has a child.
Yeah.
All right. If you're single and alone, then sure, perhaps you can survive off $9,000 Jamaican per week. But to have a child, take care of that child and yourself, that's rough.
Yeah, part with that, yeah. Yeah, but I say now, the other part that comes to mind with all of that is to say, yes, there are realities that people can't make ends meet initially when they think about trying to do things the quote-unquote legal way, if you don't have a whole lot of options that would be afforded to you if you have a traditional education, right, versus a streetwise education. But still within that context, what is the argument that you could defend for someone or for people that would say, okay, yes, you have some that can't do better, but you also have those who choose to do worse?
I get that.
So you're nice guy Batman, you know, the Robin Hood complex almost.
Stealing from the rich to give to the poor.
Right. Or at least make it look like you're gonna benefit somebody else by what you're doing.
Which kind of leads me to one of my points as well, because here's the thing. The whole Robin Hood concept, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. In relation to the Jamaican economy, if it's not for illegal money, I think the Jamaican economy would collapse.
That's a big one.
Right? I think if we completely eliminate scamming money, illegal gun sales, drugs money, and all of that, Jamaica's economy will collapse. Think about it. If we don't have those holding up the economy, what do we have? Tourism, that's not doing so well right now. Remittances.
Yeah.
What does Jamaica have that is producing them money and earning it legally from other countries? We barely export anything. Sugar, coffee, and whatever else. And the thing is, we're not even that prominent with it.
Right. It's production at scale. We lack economies of scale, is the term they like to say. It's a tough cookie to crack.
It is. And this is not to say I'm condoning the illegal activities of the criminals, but it is the reality of the situation. A lot of people are basically in survival mode here. That's the sad reality.
So the next thing that comes to me from that is, all right, so we accept that there are certain realities that make things complicated for the local economy. What happens though when we accept the scamming on the side? You know, we accept the idea of not only those who can't do without or can't make ends meet per se, but those who choose to do worse, as I said before. And then we start practicing what we preach, so to speak. So we allow that narrative to become more pervasive, more of a norm, more accepted, more openly talked about and promoted. As I see, we might have had some instances of in recent current affairs, recent news. What happens when we allow for that and then people say, well, if that's okay, what about more serious substance abuse? Because people don't normally understand. We're known for being the marijuana island, you know, the island of Mary Jane, weed. But it is a substance abuse drug, you know. Might not be as severe as some countries in the world might make it out to be compared to other hard drugs like crack, cocaine, or heroin, or what have you. Methamphetamine, fentanyl. But it is a drug that can be used to an extent that someone gets harmed, and they can be a harm or a nuisance to the wider society. What happens when we open the floodgates to more serious things like that? Like I think they had a Molly epidemic or something like that.
Still going on, actually.
Wow. So
which is also popularized by dancehall as well.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, like more recent songs have been singing about taking Molly.
And I never thought growing up you'd hear something about that. Growing up, it was about actually getting away from the use of cocaine by using marijuana instead. That's what it was with dancehall in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was shamed. But now that's been flipped. So that's what I'm saying. When we open the floodgates for more serious things, again, like human trafficking, it's a slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope.
So I don't know. It's like, do we really want to practice what we preach here with this? Is my concern, among the others, of course.
To a point, I think society has already gotten to there. Right? Scamming is almost a part of the Jamaican identity right now. To me, anyways. Right? It's now been normalized to the point where Americans know about Jamaican scammers because that's our main target.
Wow.
So the term Jamaican scammers is nothing new.
So in the international media, we have been given a profile that fits that out there. Like, for example, bad stereotypes. Some people might be afraid of a person from the Middle East that wears a turban on an airplane for obvious reasons because of 9/11. Are we getting to that point? Are we having that type of bad branding press?
We are. It's been happening for years now because of the lottery scams that's been going on, right? In America, there's lots of news about people basically losing all their life savings and unable to manage it and kill themselves.
From scammers out here?
Yeah. So while scammers out here are making a fortune from scamming the Americans, some Americans are taking it to that level and taking their own lives.
Right, so that's all to say that there's a lot of different factors that go into it all. My next thing is, yes, we give artists poetic license to say what they feel because everybody has their medium that they want to exercise. Art is a medium that allows for that expression. But at the end of the day, we still have to ask that question. Who ultimately does responsibility lie with once something is created and it's out in the open? Does it stay solely with the creator? Is it shared with the consumer? If so, to what degree? I guess this is where we would have a third party like the Broadcasting Commission come in. But
yes,
what happens if someone ventures to say, well, who regulates the regulator? Can the voice of public opinion be trusted to be able to call out when perhaps
they've gone too far.
You know?
Yes and no at the same time. I think everybody has a role to play in terms of responsibility. The artists can do better in terms of like putting out more positive messages, right? Because if you look at the trends in terms of what's been selling internationally, that's a big factor of how much money they're making, right? Now, a lot of the recent scamming songs, you hardly hear anything going international, like for example in Europe.
Right.
Europe is one place that loves dancehall.
Yes, we know.
Right. And back in the day when Vibes Cartel and a lot of other artists were making songs in that era, they were popular in Europe as well.
Right.
But recently,
yeah.
Recently, it's almost like the artists aren't making songs that everyone can relate to. So for example, if you make a scamming song or a song that talks about taking Molly or whatever, right? Or talking about being dunce, how is Europe going to relate to that? Right? And if Europe can't relate to that, your music is now stuck in the local scene. Right? They're just basically making music for TikTok and local scene, which isn't going to make them much money. So the artist needs to look into that and see how they can get their music international again so that they can make more money, generate more revenue for Jamaica, and just make it better for themselves. So there's that. And then your other point, who regulates the regulator? I don't think public opinion can be trusted to that degree, because we're in a hellhole, basically. And that's the nicest way I can put it right now. The average person in Jamaica is not able to govern themselves to a high standard in terms of like the music that they consume and stuff like that, right? A lot of people will say they enjoy the chopper songs, right? They'll enjoy the hyper violent songs that they're putting out. So if you leave it up to the general public, I don't think they'll do a very good job of it, especially if we're thinking about like the average person in Jamaica, right? And then here's the thing as well. If you go online and search average IQ of Jamaica, the most I've found is 90 something, right? The lowest I've found is about 70. So Jamaica's average IQ is about 70 to 90 by most studies.
So, context for a person that doesn't delve into such things.
IQ is a measurement of how intelligent somebody is, right? And to say that a country's average IQ is about 70 to 90 is saying that we are not very smart as a country. In fact, 70 is considered borderline retarded.
We do have the idea of mental retardation and intelligence spanning multiple dimensions, so that we're setting the stage correctly. Are we talking academic intelligence in the form of cognition, the form of analytical skills, critical thinking matter, or are we talking creative intelligence? Because a lot of people argue that as Jamaicans we tend to be very creatively intelligent.
Yes, and I will agree with that. I would agree with that. But logic-wise, which is what IQ mainly deals with, logic and reasoning, we are not ranked very highly. And what's sad is, if you check IQ studies, it seems like globally, not just Jamaica, globally, IQs are dropping as the years go by, which is sad.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, because there seems to be a lack of ambition to achieve any accolades intellectually.
That's a really bad sign.
Yeah, it is. And if you look at like how many students took CXC compared to how many students passed CXCs, let's say five CXC subjects, that's a very low percentage. The students who got 5 CXCs or more compared to the majority who failed, it's a sad reality.
I've been a bit disconnected from that since, as the average person, I wouldn't look at that statistic unless they have a child in it or, you know, they're closely tied to the educational sphere, locally or regionally. So I have no context for it right away, but it's definitely sound like something worth Googling to see.
So you can check it out on Google and just, it's a very hard to swallow pill, as I mentioned in the intro. The majority are not getting 5 or more subjects. The minority is getting 5 and more.
My main question is, when did this all happen exactly? Like, when did
I don't know.
we flip the script on wanting to be stupid? Like, what else is there? Like, I don't know how else to explain it. When did
stupid become cool? When did dunce become cool is what we're asking. Yes, I don't know.